Everybody, this is DIY with Joe, and today we are going to be making travel journals from a leather bag that I have, as well as some awesome paper. Now, here's the skinny. I have some linen paper. I'm going to show it to you real quick. This is linen paper. If you can see, it has some tooth to it. It's got a little bit of a pattern as well. It's thick and it's nice to write on. You can also use it for an art journal. Before we start, I want to ask you to do two things. One, I want you to subscribe to this channel. I want to make this channel big. I want to make this channel super cool. You're going to see some cool content today. I hope you like it. I really, really do. And to do more of it, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to hit that bell button right next to it. That's going to make sure you get the notifications when new cool videos come up. I also want to do a little bit of shout out to any other DIY people out there or artists. Message me, and I'm happy to do collaborations. I'm going to show you the 6 steps to make this awesome journal. So, number 1, you want to prepare the leather. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. Cut it out and make it into a specific shape. Now the shape is like this. It's that triangle with the place across, as well as the rectangle. The rectangle is going to house the book. The triangle is going to close it off. Step number 2, hem the leather. As you can see from the edges of this, it is all hemmed and it's nice and neat. Step number 3. Step number 3, attach the buckle and the strap. Here's the strap. And here is the buckle. Step number 4 is to make the holes, and those are these two right there, as well as these two right here. Step number 5 is putting the elastic in. That is not in right now in this piece. What you do, and I'll show you in the video, is to take it, thread it through these holes, and put it towards the other holes. Step number 6 is putting the booklet in. You slide the booklet in underneath the elastic, and that'll also be in the video. I've salvaged a piece of leather, especially this piece with the buckle. That's going to be super useful because the buckle we're going to use to close the journal. This is a piece of the saddlebag. Now the reason I am cutting it up is, as you can see, it's got some gross water damage. There was a spill in the place where I had this, and a lot of it got ruined with this really dirty septic water. So it smelled really bad, and it dried out and smelled better, but a lot of the parts of it were still disgusting. So I'm salvaging the rest of the leather so we can make it work for a journal. I'll probably cut it right here. This will be on the front cover, and I want to make sure that actually that goes past the booklets. You know, it needs to be enough so that it closes over the booklets. So let me measure that for you right now. Let's first cut off this because that's not usable because of the stain. Cool. Okay, and I want to make sure this piece is in there, so I want to see if it can go over that way. It'd be kind of cool to have this this in there as well. A little pocket. So if this is the front, let's see if it folds over enough. It's probably going to be a no. Yeah, as you can see, it's not big enough there, but it's probably big enough this way. Let's see if it's big enough this way. Yeah, that's more than big enough. And then we can cut that part out and put that, you know, sew that piece over here. That'd be perfect. I'm gonna trace it. See how much space we need. I might have to actually cut this pocket out. Alright, cool. Okay, so So width is perfect. We'll hem it though. But the height, we can change the height. Enough to hem, which should be right over here. So just that taken across and then taken that way is perfect. And then we'll cut out that pocket. And then we'll, yeah, this is just fabric. So we'll cut that pocket out and then shape this a bit so it's like a triangle. So it closes, and then this we'll cut out and put on the cover, and it'll latch, and you can close it with a little leather strap. That'll be perfect. So here is it all cut out. As you can see, I wrote along here with the pen, traced it along here with a straight edge, and then the rest was history. Now it doesn't matter if it's completely straight because we're gonna hem it. Just with a simple stitch so it looks nice and neat. I'll have to get some pins, and I have pins. So here's another thing you'll need. You're gonna need some pins also. Some pins. Also suggested stuff, thimbles. Thimbles are super useful for pushing the leather needle through the leather. It's extremely important because you can't push it with your thumb, but you can push it with the thimble. And I use the regular, I don't remember what the stitch is called. I think it's called the boxcar stitch, but I'm not entirely sure. You put it through from the back, tie it, put it through, and put it back in, and then tie it through, put it through the other loop so it stays. Then you sew like that. So you sew through, and then double back, and then go across and through and double back. That way you can see one straight line without any breaks on the front and on the back. You'll see that it kind of goes back and forth and back and forth. Although on the front you don't see that. Put in the description the name of the stitch so you can look up how to make it. But here it is right now. That's Jessie. She's the cool Airbnb host that is working for people and stuff. So you should respect her because she's going to be working with the future AI overlords as long as she doesn't get eaten up by them because they eat people. Don't get eaten up, okay? Please. You're a cool person, even though you don't like bubble tea. She's just like smiling at me. She's like, I don't know what to say. This is really weird, but fun. Okay. The booklet's going to go in the middle here. And it's going to close over the booklet like that. This is going to close like that. And then this, I actually have it set up as if it was closed. I'll show you. And this is going to be attached right here. And we're going to pull it closed. Now, of course, it's going to latch like that. And as this part is attached to here, it'll pull this closed and snug. Once I sew on those parts, I'm going to punch a hole in here and a hole in here to have the elastic band come through here. The elastic band's going to come through here. I'm going to slip this guy underneath the elastic band, close it, and it'll be locked in. And then it'll be a replaceable travel journal made of awesome leather. And it's going to be super cool. So I'm going to show you the process of that. So, sewed it all around and got the buckle on. This is the latest thing right here. All I did, I figured out where it would be by folding it around the piece of paper. Paper fits right in here. And I want this, when it's pushed in, I want this to be slightly over the pieces of paper. As you can see right here, and I want this to fold over, and it would be right there. So I sewed it. The reason that I split it a little bit is because I'm putting this part behind it so it looks like it's neat. I'm gonna sew that on there like that, and it's going to be perfect because it'll close and go into the latch right there, like that. You'll see me do that in super fast motion. Starting now. So we are done sewing it up. I'm going to show you how to cut the holes. I already did it in this one, but it's pretty simple. So I have the booklet right here. And with the booklet, I have this guy, this whole thing. We have the thing sewed on as well as the other thing sewed on. And wait till the autofocus gets to my face. Perfect. All right, cool. So we have this sewed on, the strap, and then we have this guy sewed on. And it's really cool because right now it closes, as you can see. And that means that you guys have a working journal. This is totally working. There are a couple more steps that are super, super small that you can get done. It'll make it awesome. First step is to, as we were doing when we positioned the buckle, we want to size it. So we want to put you want to take this, you want to put the journal in and put it where this goes out over the journal comfortably. And you should have sized it earlier, so this should coincide with the tapering of this. So right where you started making the triangle. If you sized it right, then it should be right there, right? So you fold it and then you make note of this fold. This is where you're gonna make the holes. So make a note of that fold. You wanna put 2 holes and 2 holes so you can put in the elastic in the right place. One as close to the edge as possible and one very close to that. Very, very close to that. Use a hole punch. I used scissors because I was too lazy to find a hole punch, and I was too excited to have a working product, and it ended up messing up a couple times. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. I want you guys to make a nicer looking one that's cooler than mine. And if you want to be super, super fancy, I might redo this, but if you want to be super, super fancy, put 2 grommets in. If you have some kind of way to do grommets, so it's like lined by metal, that would be super fancy. And I might patch these up with another piece of leather and redo it to show you what that would look like. Maybe not. But a hole as close to the edge inside the hemming as possible. So past the hemming inside the edge, and another hole right there. And then a hole on this side, and then another hole as close to it as possible. This one's a hole I don't need, but there's 2 holes there as well. Cool. That is step number 4. Woohoo! We did it. Step number 5, let's do it, is you take the elastic. Now the idea is to get it somewhat tight. So you wanna measure enough to be slightly loose, a little bit more than the edge. This much is fine. So it's like if I stick this to that edge, around that much is fine. That's enough to tie it and make it slightly tight. Now we want it to be slightly tight because when this guy's in, we want it to wrap around in a way that's a little bit tight so that it doesn't like loosey-goosey. It's tightly bound to our travel journal. So first thing we do, we take this guy and we put it inside over here. So what we're doing is we're taking the end and we're sticking it through one of the holes, doesn't matter which one of the holes closer to the edge. Closer to the edge. Because we have one closer and one further, and then one closer and one further. So one of the holes closer to the edge. Now you have it sticking out the end. Now the reason we do that is because this is going to go over our journal. The middle of our journal is going to strap it in place, and we want it, since we sized it right, we want this should be about the size of our page with the hemming. Hemming on the outside, and this should be about the size of our page. So we want to make sure that this straps over our page. We don't want it to strap under our page because that's going to squeeze our page and then make it rip, make our booklet rip. I made that mistake when I first made this, but now I know better. So that's why I had to redo this hole, because it was way too far away from the edge, and I had to create another one up here. That's good to make mistakes, because then you know what you need to fix. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. So then what you do is this piece that's going forward on the outside, you put it back in the second hole that's a bit further from the edge. Cool. So now on the inside, so we put it in, and then we have this little short tail and this little long tail. So take this, you put it out, you put it back in, a little bit of a white thing, and so I can color it brown to make it look nicer. You have enough, you tie it, well, you can tie it whatever way you want, but I like to tie it one way across, and then around the other side, kind of like a square knot. And it's hard to see with the camera, but I'm tying it one direction around this guy, and then from the other direction, so it balances it out, because I want it to lay as flat as possible. This guy, I don't want it to kind of like lay like that, or like be twisted a bit. I want to tie it once around one way and the other way around the other way, so it's pulled equally in both directions. It doesn't warp anything. Now you do the same thing on the other side. You take this end, and if you have a lace, try to make sure it's not warped. If you have a cord, then make sure it's not twisted. And take it and put this end through the one closest to the edge. What that will do, it'll enable you to get, again, a string that wraps around, over the page, and not clipping it and bending it because it's too small. Sometimes you might, if you made small holes, if you use a hole punch like you should, like I didn't, but like you should, then you will have a nice piece right here, and you won't have to push it through, but I had to push it through because I use scissors. So cool. So what you should have this knot that you just made, and you should have this, something like that, where it goes out and in just like before, out and in and out and in. And then, okay, cool. So you tie it, you want to pull it enough so that it's slightly bending the leather. Not like that much bending, because that's a bit much, you see? But so it's slightly bending the leather, because you want it snug, and you want it a little bit tight, because that's going to hug the booklet to the journal. That's what we want. So you can see here there's a little bit of tension, and a little bit of tension is good. And let's make sure it's a little bit of tension, not a lot of bit of tension. So I can feel a little bit of tension, which is good. I don't want it to like ruin the paper and bend the paper, but I want it to hug it close to the leather. I want to hug it close to the leather. So that's what we do. We make sure that's the case, and then we tie it again. I'm going to see if I can show you better this time. We tie it once here. Keep that in place so it's still snug. And then, as you can see, from the other side, so you'll pull it in both directions. Cool. That's how you get the elastic in place. As you can see, it's a little bit bendy right there. That's good. That's good. It means it's tight. We want it to be tight. So then I cut this off. Double knot it so it's cool. And I cut this off. Again, double knotted so it's cool. And I have enough cord that if this is too tight or too loose, I just make another one. Great. That is step number 5. You ready for the last one? You ready for the last one? Take your booklet. I'm going to show you some other one. This is another booklet I have. This will also work. It's a bit smaller than this. This one I made on my own. This one I made on my own. This one I did not make on my own. This one I made on my own. And I sized the journal to this. So what you have to do, you have to go to the middle. Right there. You guys can see handwriting sucks. But you go to the middle right here, right? And then what you do is you take this at the middle, and you slide it in. I'm gonna go with it. Well, first of all, you have to make sure like which way is it gonna fold. So you close it, right? So for me, I'm going to close it this way. And I am putting it in like that. So I want to make sure that right side up is like this. Because if I'm going to open it like that, I need to make sure, here's the cover, I need to make sure that the cover is going to be right there. So I'm going to open it up to the middle, like before. I went up to the middle, like so. And this is going to be a little bit difficult with one hand. So I put it in like this, and I wrap it so that the elastic goes straight through there. You can see that, right? Cool. And then I close it, as you can see, I'm going to close it, and then wrap it like that. And as I close it, you'll see that it is awesomely done, and I'm super excited. I mean, I know when I first finished this is I'm recording this after I finished it, of course. When I first finished it, I was super excited to see this. I was like, this looks so cool. It looks so neat. It looks so vintage. It looks so like craftsman, legitimate. I was bouncing off the walls. And hopefully you're feeling the same way too, because I know I was excited, and I was proud of myself. That's what I get from it. And I know that some of you are doing this with your loved ones, and that's a cool sense of connection that you have. You guys can high-five each other. And then you get all this, and you can, use that at night, write in a journal, if you want, write notes, be like, yo, I am a craftsman, and I'm proud for writing in my own journal that either you made, or that you made with your lover, or your friend, or your family, all that cool stuff. And then the unstated step 7 is just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Hey, thanks for watching. My name is Joe, and I really hope you liked it. This is my journal. I've been using it for a while, and hopefully now you have one of your own. If you do want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button. I want you to do 2 things, actually. I want you to hit the subscribe button, and next to it there's a bell, and I want you to hit that bell and say you want to receive notifications. So I hope that you're ready for the next video. The comment question of the day, it's super simple. What project do you want me to teach you how to make? And I will see you folks tomorrow.